Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, good afternoon, each and every one of you. Again, to our bookers, our participants for this afternoon, for this session. Again, welcome to Camp Meet 2 or Week 2. Welcome to all of our participants from PNU and SDO Calamba City. So this is Sir King Valencia, your MC for today's event. Okay, so recently, I posted or chat there in our chat box that we would like to hear your progress as well as your progress for the course. So I can see here that the progress you are in now is that you are now in week 2. Okay, so mostly week 2. So thank you for all your participations. Now, without further ado, uh, to start our program, okay, we will have the nationalistic song, the opening prayer, the depth and quality policy, to be followed by the singing of the Kalamba hymn for our preliminaries.
Ako'y anak ng lupang hinirang, kung saan matatagpuan ang timyas ng perlas ng silangan, nagniningning sa buong kapuluan. Taglay ko ang hiwaga ng silangan, at saan mang bayan o lungsod, maging timog, hilaga at kanluran, ang Pilipino ay namumukod. Sama-sama nating abutin pinakamatayog na bituin, at ang aking tagumpay, tagumpay ng aking lahi, tagumpay ng aking lipi, ang tanging minimithi at hinahangad. Hangad ko'y tagumpay natin lahat. Ako ay may isang munting pangarap sa ating dakilang lupain, at sa sama-sama nating pagsisikap, sama-sama ring mararating ang iba't ibang galaw, iisang patutunguhan. Dito, isang araw, isang kapuluan. Sama-sama nating abutin pinakamatayog na bituin, at ang aking tagumpay, tagumpay ng aking lahi, tagumpay ng aking lipi, ang tanging minimithi at hinahangad. Hangad ko'y tagumpay natin lahat. Hangad ko'y tagumpay natin lahat.
Under your grace, your mercy amazes me. Under your wings, your shadow covers me. A promise of love where my heart is safely undone. Speak to me, Lord, Your servant is listening over the noise. I hear you whispering, my hope has come, and my heart is safely undone. I found my fortress in you, and my soul is anchored with you. My resting place is in your name, forever safe. Speak to me, Lord, your servant is listening over the noise. I hear you whispering, my hope has come, and my heart is safely undone. Oh, I found my fortress in you, and my soul is anchored with you. My resting place is in your name. I found my fortress in you, and my soul is anchored with you. My resting place is in your name, forever safe, forever safe.
Quality Policy Statement. The Department of Education is committed to provide learners with quality basic education that is accessible, inclusive, and liberating through proactive leadership, shared governance, evidence-based policies, standards and program, responsive and relevant curriculum, highly competent and committed officials and teaching and non-teaching personnel, enabling learning environment. The department upholds the highest standards of conduct and performance to fulfill stakeholders' needs and expectations by adhering to constitutional mandates, statutory, and regulatory requirements and sustain client satisfaction through continuous improvement of the quality management system.
Okay. So once again, good afternoon to all our participants for this afternoon Campi 2. So how are you doing now? Alam ko medyo drastic din yung naging changes dahil alert level 1 na din ang lahat. So para naman makita natin kung nandyan ba, alive and kicking ang ating mga participants, okay? At tayo din ay nagpa-unlock sa ating sa ating sarili, no? So for our brave heart, so can I have a reaction of a heart reaction there para sa pag-unlock sa ating MOOC or taking the challenge of this MOOC course. Yan, I could see a lot of brave hearts here. Yan, thank you for all your participation. So I hope you are all well. Okay? And I know that you are all excited for this afternoon's camp meet and hear a lot of stories, a lot of things, okay? Discussions, and including inspirational messages that our speakers and all facilitators would give us. Okay, so to give us his welcoming and inspirational message, okay, our very dynamic, indefatigable, innovative, and committed public servant, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, none other than Mr. JP E. Lopo. A virtual round of applause for Sir JP.
Hi,
JP.
and good afternoon, Sir King, and to everyone around. We have a few number of participants in the MOOC camp meetups through this online platform via Zoom, and hopefully others are joining via our YouTube live. Yeah, we are now on our second week, and this is our second camp meetup, and I hope everybody's doing fine and great with the course. I hope that you are learning a lot and there's more to come. Have you ever experienced in your life where you have a story to tell, a beautiful story to tell, and when you started telling it to people around you, it's as if they don't get it, they don't understand, or nobody pays attention, nobody even cares? Or have you experienced that you are asked to share a story, but you could not choose from among the experiences and the knowledge that you've had before, and you're having difficulty finding out the best or the most fit story that you can ever tell to people around you or in front of you? So basically, each one of us has a story to tell, but the story becomes more flavorful the way we tell it to other people. And hopefully, you have had a taste of how do you pitch your stories, how do you select your stories, and even how do you conduct interviews so that you have more to tell other people. And that's exactly what we have for the second week of our MOOC. Kung hindi pa kayo nakakarating sa second week at nasa first week pa rin, don't you worry, you still have time to catch up and to be able to finish the course with us. And hopefully this session will be another fruitful encounter with all of us as we learn all together. With that, I am welcoming you all to the second MOOC Camp Meetup. Maraming salamat and good afternoon.
Socialization, yun yung open voting.
Thank you, Sir JP, for that wonderful message and inspirational message for each and every one of us. So truly nga that we are really that we have really the brave heart that we took the challenge, okay, to improve ourselves via MOOC. So this is also one of the ways to improve ourselves, okay, including our P-service teachers if we have here, right? And for those teachers who are not really familiar with journalism, now it's your time to shine. So since all of us are using the language, either English or Filipino, journalism nowadays is very important, okay? Especially in the context of digital or modern technology, the digital age. So this would be a great avenue for us to uplift ourselves and our knowledge and skills. So I hope that you are all enjoying your MOOC course. Okay, for week 1, we already had the very wonderful session as well as learnings. So for this week, we will be having the sharing of experience for week 1. Okay, and to give their stories, okay, to tell their stories. Let me call on first from Philippine Normal University, Mindanao, none other than Rolly Majan S. Amante. Take it away.
All right, a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious afternoon, teachers, mentors, language and journalism enthusiasts, and also to the aspiring practitioners of the complex art of teaching. I would like to begin by expressing my utmost gratitude for sharing with us the privilege to join this camp. Thank you for allowing us, the pre-service teachers, to take part in this learning opportunity. I believe we will not just improve our learning English and journalistic skills, but also can gain insights from the in-service teachers who have grounded experiences on how to teach in the real classroom, having the skills of the honing the skills of the 21st century multi-literate learners. Thank you for sharing with us this experience. So to share with you my experience in week 1, which focuses on the introduction and principles of journalism, I would say it wasn't easy, especially for a university student like me. I need to juggle between my school deliverables and perform as best as I could in this 5-week course. At first, I anticipated that this engagement would be like a webinar type where what we are going to do is to listen to a resource speaker and jot down what we have learned. But I wasn't expecting that it would be like another online class which we are expected to beat deadlines and pass the course. But of course, as teachers who are trained to always look for the best at all circumstances, all situations and circumstances, instead of looking at this one as another pile of work, it challenged me in more ways than one. As an English major who has a lot of reading requirements, not limited to novels, prof ed reflection papers, lesson plans, demo teachings, and we are also writing our thesis paper this term, so I need to give an extra mile of perseverance and hard work to finish my workload. I would say, aside from the technical understanding of the nature of this course, it taught me a lot of value that improved my pedagogical skills or my self-determined learning to find meaning in all my learning experiences. It greatly taught me the value of time management, and also what I was while I was answering each unit, I have realized that I learn best by reading rather than watching those lecture videos. So I like that the videos have transcripts for learners like me who prefer reading to viewing. I also like that the selections in each unit are brief enough to tackle the most essential concepts I am required to learn. My favorite section there is the value affirmation activity, the part where we were asked to think about the values that are most important to us and to write a note to our future selves about our experiences and what we have learned so far. So sa part na yun, nakapag-reflect talaga ako. And overall, I had so much fun learning. In fact, it served as in my part as a review of some lessons in English, since there are parts in which the selection is all about language focus, like the simple past and the past perfect. We had that one in our structure of English, the tense and aspect system. And I felt that I constantly need to revisit those concepts and be reminded of how they should be used both in writing and speaking. Of course, I cannot teach what I didn't have. All in all, I had a very nice experience and I look forward to learning more as I carry on with this camp. Thank you so much and good afternoon again.
Thank you, Mr. Amante. A very well said and very great reflection from a pre-service teacher. I know that you can finish this with flying colors, should I say? Okay, so we can relate to what you have said a while ago. Now, if we have pre-service teachers, of course, as one of the main clients here in the MOOC course, okay, from Integrated School of Lawa to share his story and experience in taking the MOOC course for journalism, may we call on Mr. Jerry A. Agustin Jr. Take it away, sir.
Yes po, hello po, good afternoon po. So, Sir JP, good afternoon po everyone, teachers from other schools, pre-service school teachers, good afternoon po. Narinig niyo naman po ako ma'am, mga sirs. Okay naman po, audible naman po.
Loud and clear, sir.
Pasensya na po kayo kasi meron lang kasi kayong nagpa-practice for Grand Salvo dito sa school kasi we are for face-to-face classes on Monday. Nagpe-prepare na kami for the Monday. So, for my reflection for week 1, actually matatouch na rin po nito yung week 2. So, siguro po at first, my impression of undergoing MOOC was at first, very unfavorable as it will give additional works and activities with our existing teacher duties and responsibilities. Yun na nga po, especially in my case or in our case here in our school, with the opening of pilot face-to-face classes on Monday. But all of that, as I underwent week 1 of what would I say, the MOOC verse, di ba? Parang Marvel verse, parang ganun, cinematic universe. MOOC verse, my prejudice would instantly change for the better. So now, focusing on the practicality of the course and Coursera as its medium, the course gives you options on your own working schedule. So it gives you the freedom to choose on which date of the week you are going to continue your unfinished activity. So napaka-helpful po nung ganon. Which is in my case, I think I use Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for my schedule. So it was very adaptive and flexible. Pero alam niyo po, minsan kapag alam niyo pwede mo na ding hindi sundin yung schedule mo kasi minsan bigla kang sumisipag ka, natapos mo na agad yung mga trabaho mo. Ayun, you may continue your unfinished business with the course anytime, kahit pa isa-isang activity lang. Napaka-helpful ng ganon. So now, in contrast with my first impression, the activities are very light yet informational, challenging yet possible. The quizzes give you multiple tries if ever you fail. May nangyari na sa akin ito yung parang hindi ako nakaabot sa 75%, but they gave me you have a chance to take another try in that quiz. Also, na-mention na rin ni Sir kanina, the quizzes, the video lessons are very comprehensible. So aside from the video itself, there are also text available that you may read while the video is playing. The reading activities have basic and advanced options to choose from. So minsan kung gusto mo ng additional challenge, ang piliin mo is yung advanced option dun sa reading activity. Also, there are activities that encourage participation. There are activities wherein you need to communicate with other people enrolled in the course. So spoilers po para sa mga nasa week 1 pa lang. Magkakaroon po ng ganun. As it needed, someone to review your work and you also need to review others' work. It has also some grammar reviews. So if ever you need to recall your article writing skills, which is being applied to if you are a campus journalism advisor. So now in terms of content po, the topics are very timely and applicable now, wherein fact-checking is a skill people must possess. And I do believe hindi lang siya pang English teacher because it teaches the way of being a very critical person and a thinking individual. So I am very looking forward for the next weeks of the course. So thank you very much. Yun po ang aking mga takeaways po for week 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jerry. So I agree to what you have said, that including Mr. Amante, that the course is very, including the medium, no, Coursera, it's very flexible and it caters all our learning styles. So we have the audio visual, we have the text if we want it to read, and as well as it is very interactive, including the videos, right? Just like you're just watching, but all of a sudden there are certain questions to ponder about, and that really makes us hooked to the video, to the discussion, and that adds up to the atmosphere that you are really, just like what Mr. Amante said, it's just like an online class. Okay, so it has its recitation. Okay, it aims as well for mastery, so at least 70%, right? And I know that all of us, we have our own face, our own learning style. So it's up to you whether what strategy you will employ for your course. Again, the goal is to finish the course, okay, to survive despite the odds. And of course, with your brave hearts, I know that we would succeed. Okay. Now, moving on for our next part of the program, for our session proper for week 2, okay, to give us a lot of insights and of course to further expound all the learnings and knowledge that we have. We are lucky to have here our 2 facilitators, of course, our very own teachers from DepEd Calamba City. Okay. Our first speaker for this afternoon is a grade 7 English teacher and advisor and graduate of Master of Arts in Teaching, major in English at Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños campus, as well as a co-SPA or school paper advisor, none other than Ma'am Maribel Umandap. So a virtual round of applause for Ma'am Maribel. And for our next speaker, sabay na natin para sa ating introduction, of course. Our next speaker for this afternoon, with 14 years of experience of being a public servant, okay, the overall secretary of the School Paper Advisors Guild of Calamba City, also known as PAGC, head teacher 3 of the English department from Calamba Bayside Integrated School, none other than Ma'am Marian Diaz. So a virtual round of applause for our 2 very dynamic, innovative speakers. Take it away, ma'am.
Thank you, Sir King, for that introduction. Ako naman,
Yes.
pleasure naman ako, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ma'am Maribel.
Hi, ma'am. Okay.
Ayan,
Before
so,
we
Ma'am
start,
Maribel, how are
allow me
you
to sh-
today?
I'm good, ma'am.
So, Ma'am Maribel, I saw familiar faces here in our MOOC camp. Have you also noticed that?
Yeah, sir. Yung speaker natin, Sir Jerry Agustin, yeah, from Lawa IS.
Yes, so hello to the members of the School Papers Advisors Guild of Calamba Cities and welcome for this another professional development that we have, right, Ma'am Maribel?
Yes. Before we start, allow me to share the
Yes, Ma'am
presentation that we
Maribel.
prepared. Yes.
So since while Ma'am Maribel is still sharing her screen, so since I and Ma'am Maribel are both school paper advisors, so we know, so we find it so enjoyable. So the course is very familiar already to us, but I'm sure that we're still able to learn something new here in our course. And if you are inclined with campus journalism, this will surely be a great help for you. So I know that this course an avenue for us, especially for those new in the field of campus journalism, because in our school paper, in our SPAGC, there are new school paper advisors. So hope that you're able to gain something fresh and new with this course. Okay, so let's continue, Ma'am Maribel. So
Yes,
let's
we
have
go
first
through-
our status check. So a while ago, Sir King already asked our participants. So let's check first.
So let's
Maribel,
basically
continue.
kasi what is the content of Unit 2? Basically, we'll just present them the walkthrough or the content of Unit 2, okay? So to start with, okay, we'll have the status check. Okay, please, okay pa ba kayo mga kasama? Are you
So
still?
let's check
Yes,
your
okay.
status.
So let's have a status check. Okay, we'll have, okay, pakipost po dun sa ating chat box. If you're done with week number 2, okay, you press heart emoji. So if you're done with task number 2, okay, please press heart emoji. Marami na bang po sa palakita pagka naka-share
Yes,
screen.
yes. For
But if
so
you are
started
halfway-
working on week 2, so type thumbs up. And those who are still working for the task 1 or week 1, okay, so kindly put a wow emoji. So let's see now. So
Okay.
mostly
Yes, ma'am. What do you
Okay,
see?
so
Kasi
ma'am,
naka-share screen ako,
we
hindi ko
have,
kita.
okay, so thumbs up. So they
How
are
many
still
thumbs up
started
do we have there? How
working
about
on the
heart
week 2.
emoji?
Yes. Some are still working. Okay,
Oh, that's
yes.
fine.
So thank you for the answer for our
Yeah, right.
participants. So don't worry, those who answered that is still working on the week 1 task, because we will guide and assist you on the things that you might be encounter as you work on for our week 2, right, Ma'am Maribel?
Yes, ma'am. And remember, don't hurry. Parang masyadong mabilis, okay? Remember, we have different learning styles. So just like what the first, nag-share kanina si Sir. So sabi niya,
Okay.
mas okay siya reading the text rather than watching the videos. And then, since this is a self-paced activity or lesson or course, so the schedule depends on you. Okay, kung saan ka mas komportable, if you are comfortable working on it in the morning, o kaya naman before you sleep. So that's up to you.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, according to Sir JP, those who are still working on week 1, so let's do it. Kaya pa natin yan. Yes, of course.
Oh, very
Aksha,
good.
makakahabol pa po tayo.
Okay, but before that, before we proceed with the
Yes, ma'am.
plenary for our walkthrough for week number 2, I have here a game.
So let's
part
have
of
first a
a
review
for
for our participants. Let's have first a
okay?
short game.
So if you have an extra gadget there, an extra cell phone, or may kasama kayo dyan na may extra cell phone, please, I am inviting you to join. Okay, to play Kahoots. Are you familiar with Kahoots? Okay po ba tayo doon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wait lang. Just a minute. It's here.
So just a review for your past lessons, especially those who are still working for the week 1. So don't worry, maybe you can able to answer. This is only 5 questions on our, we prepared review questions on a Kahoot. Okay, so we are encouraging everyone, for those who can able to have an access for Kahoot, so please join. Because later, we will give you prize. We prepared prizes, right, Ma'am Maribel?
Yes, ma'am. Teka lang, wait lang. Paano siya i-share? Nasaan na yun? Share.
And so I feel that our participants now, Maribel, are excited to play the Kahoot. So
I'm having a technical glitch here. Shares. Ba't hindi ko na siya ma-share? Nasaan na siya? I have the link. Wala na yung link.
So since Ma'am Maribel have a technical problem, so Ma'am Maribel, you can play the Kahoot. So maybe we can ask the participants now just to write their answers on the chat box. So since we already prepared the 5 questions.
I think I can't share it now. I don't know what happened.
So maybe Ma'am Maribel, we can just ask them to write their answers on the chat box. Okay, so since we have our technical problems, so let's just
I just share the
question.
the slides.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just proceed with this. Sorry for that. Okay, so actually, the questions that we have prepared there had been answered already by the participants who shared their experiences a while ago. So since I'm having a problem here, technical glitch, I think we shall proceed with this. So basically, the content of that Kahoots is more on to check how well they were.
Okay, so maybe ma'am, we can just ask them to write their answers on the chat box. So I'll be reading the questions. So this is just a review question for them. So don't worry, participants, this is just only 5 questions. So number 1, so just write the letter of the correct answer. So let's see if you're still remember or recall the lesson on past week 1. So number 1, so are you ready? So just write the letter in the chat box. Okay, so this principle, so number 1, this principle of journalism emphasizes an honest way of operation that allows other people to see what you are doing. So is it A, completeness? Is it letter B, humanity? Letter C, objectivity? Or letter D, transparency? So let's see, Ma'am Maribel, the answer of our participants. So this principle of journalism emphasizes an honest way of operation that allows other people to see what you are doing. Okay, so okay, answer is D. So let's see the other answers. Yes, so majority of our participants, yes, very good. They still remember. So yes, the correct answer is letter D, transparency. So thank you for that answer. So for our second question, this principle of journalism highlights to give power to those who do not have. Okay, so again, the question is, this principle of journalism highlights to give power to those who do not have. So is it A, accountability? It's letter B, empowerment. Letter C, fairness. And letter D, originality. So let's see the answer. Okay, so the correct answer is yes, correct. So letter B is empowerment. So next, number 3 question. It is the process of establishing the truth, accuracy, or validity of something. Okay, is it A, completeness? Is it letter B, objectivity? Letter C, originality? And letter D, verification. So what's the answer, Ma'am Maribel? For our number 3, what's the answer of our participants? Yes, Manilyn Erhas. So yes, correct. It is letter D. Yes, so it is verification. So for our 4th question, this principle of journalism points out just and reasonable behavior. A, accountability. B, fairness. C, humanity. Or D, originality. So let's see the answer. Okay, so answer is letter. So the answer is letter B, fairness. So we are pointing out just and reasonable fair. And the last question, so this is just only true or false. So being accurate means sometimes having reliable facts. Being accurate means sometimes having reliable facts. Okay, so some answers true and then some answer false. So the correct answer is false because we have the word sometimes. So no, yes, the correct answer is false because being accurate means always having reliable facts. Okay, so thank you very much for those who answered on our chat box. So sorry we're not able to play the Kahoot today for our review. So to moving on, Ma'am Maribel, so for our unit 2, what are those things?
So, thank you for saving the day. Actually, I figured it out. Pero hindi ko siya na-share kasi hindi ako nag-stop sharing para ma-share yung notes. Okay, sorry for that. So, what is the content of Unit 2? So, Unit 2, we'll just walk through, okay? So, how to research, pitch, and interview the content of Unit 2. Number 1 is, how do journalists decide on a topic? So, that's one of the 4 bigger topics that we have in Unit number 2. And then number 2 idea is to pitching a story, okay? How to pitch a story, and then gathering sources and reporting sources. So
Yes, Ma'am Maribel. So these are the 4 things that awaits for you for our week 2 course. So at least those who are still answering for the week 1, they already have an idea, Ma'am Maribel.
yeah.
Okay, so moving on, Ma'am Maribel.
Okay, so moving on with the, yes, ma'am.
How do journalists decide on a topic? So there are 2 ways, or there are 2 questions we must remember when we are choosing a topic. So you know what, Ma'am Maribel? These 2
Yes,
questions
ma'am.
are the same questions we are asking when we are doing the school paper. Our school paper advisors can relate to
Yeah,
that.
of course.
What are the interested topic they have to write in their paper, and what is this interesting to the other people?
Yeah.
So
before we
so when we say Ma'am Maribel topic, it is a subject or an issue. Of course,
issue,
for a
yes.
journalist, this is a big subject for them.
So
Ma'am
basically,
Maribel, when you are reading or
interests us,
watching news,
how
what types of
interest
stories do
people
you
are the
usually
other
turn
way
to?
around?
Ma'am Maribel, when you are reading or watching news, what types of stories do you usually read?
Okay. So I don't usually read news. I just listen to the radio. Kasi di ba, pagka umaga na kasi busy ka na, you're going to school, and you have to prepare everything before you leave. Before I leave the house, I have to prepare breakfast for my family. So basically, I'll just listen to the radio. I'll just speak. Alam mo, kilala mo si Ted Pailan at saka si DJ Chacha. Ayun. Every morning from 6 a.m. Actually, nung walang pasok, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pero ngayon, doon lang ako nagbabasa ng balita. Every
And
morning.
what type of stories you usually interested, Ma'am Maribel?
Usually local news, since kami, di ba, yung location namin, we're here in Bungo. And Bungo is the boundary of Calamba City, and then yung mga nearby provinces mga province na kasi yung kasunod namin. Cavite, Batangas. So since we're under the 7-kilometer danger zone, part kami nun, I always listen or watch news about the updates on Taal eruption. Kasi, di ba, kapag malapit ka sa ganung klaseng malapit ka sa danger zone, then kailangan you have to be updated, to be prepared. O hindi yung nandyan na, may ashfall na, saka ka pa lang lilikas. So dapat prior to the eruption itself, so kung mayroon ng babala, so dapat ready na po, ma'am.
So local news.
Ganun kami mag-ready, local news.
Yes. So in our next slide, Ma'am Maribel, we have still other examples or the types of issues.
Yeah.
So yes. So
we have here the larger topic. So how
yes.
do journalists decide on a topic based from the course that we have? So the larger topic, basically, we have the business, the politics, health, the arts, fashion, and sport. So it depends on the journalist on how to narrow down these bigger topics. So based from the course that we're
so we have also the health, the arts, fashion, and sports.
Yeah.
And of course, education. We can also include education here as one of the topic. Because
if you were
that
to
is
choose
one
among
Yes,
these
ma'am.
6 big topics, which one are you interested in? Kung ikaw, alin kaya dyan?
Okay, so moving on, Ma'am Maribel. Yes.
Tingin ako na
So
rin.
since you already have our topic, so how to narrow down the topic
yes.
in an idea or article? So yes, because for example, the word health is very general topic. So how we're going to narrow down topic into an article. So there are 3 common ways on how to narrow down an article. So that is by type, place, and time. So for example, so for example, type is health. So I'll be picking health. So and then the place, it should be specific, for example, in Calamba City. To more specific, so I'll be preferring, for example, Calamba Bayside Integrated School, our school. And then for the time, so for example, this month, so last March. So if we want to know the status of the health status of the teachers, okay, so the type is health, and then the place is, of course, in our school, Calamba Bayside, and then the time. So for the month of March, so what's their health status? So that's an example how to narrow down the topic into an idea for an article.
A narrow topic, yes, ma'am. And
yes.
One way also to improve the article that we are writing, okay, we have to research an idea. These ideas may come from news stories that we are watching from the television or ano tayo online. It could be also from investigative journalism and human interest stories.
Yes, because the news we are reading or because when we are watching or reading news, of course, Ma'am Maribel, stories are not the same type, same style. So these 3 are the type of story depending on the topic. So we have here
the news
stories, investigative journalism, and the human interest story. So let's take.
So basically, when we say news story, basic article or TV segment that reports on an event with just the facts.
And human interest stories. Yes.
Yes. It could answer the 5 Ws and 1H. Basta ganun lang yung content. And then
yes, the news stories. Yes, using the WH question. And usually, ma'am, the news stories should be objective because we're not putting opinion in the news. And also, the news story is the simplest and the shortest. So alam yan na mga kasamahan natin school paper advisor. No, yung mga news stories, they're already familiar with that.
Oo, hindi maliligaw kasi. And then when we are talking about investigative journalism, so we're talking about longer article or news segment that uncovers new information on a large topic that affects the public, and it could run for, let's say, for a couple of months or a year.
Yes.
For us or for the journalist to unravel the mystery behind or what's the story about and what's going on into something. So you have to run on a series. Kailangan malalim, mas mahabang gathering of information. And then the last one, ma'am, is the
human interest.
Okay.
So when we say human interest, it's a longer article that focuses on a person or people as a way of talking about a current event. So usually when we say human interest, so it brings an emotional side to our larger issue, and then it gives a voice to the voiceless. So related to the journalistic principle of empowerment that we discussed on our week 1.
Yeah. So moving on.
Yes, ma'am, moving on. So after the journalists know their topic and the story style, so they already know the topic, they already have narrowed down it, they can now start to researching the idea. And the biggest part of researching the story is gathering sources. And these are the types of sources, ma'am, that we have. What are they, Ma'am Maribel?
Okay, they are the people and the information. Okay, the sources of information. Could be from a person or through the information or facts being given to us or to the journalist.
Yes, so people, these are the person, the eyewitness, so experts in a particular field, while those information sources of the secondary source of information that we can get, it can be a documents that contain background on a subject or on a topic that we have.
For fact check. Yes,
ma'am. So continue, let's continue.
We have how to pitch a
so
story.
We are now on the second topic, ma'am, for the week 2. How to pitching a story.
Okay, pitching a story from a magazine, newspaper or magazine. Okay.
Yes.
So when we say pitch, a short description of a story the journalist wants to
tell.
Tell.
So usually, ma'am, pitching is the process when picking what story to print. No, so
Mhm.
usually it is 30 to 40 seconds long, and the purpose of pitching is to sell the idea to the editor so that it will be written and printed in a magazine or newspaper.
Okay,
So, Ma'am
because
Maribel, I have question for you.
yes, ma'am.
What was your past experience in doing the school paper, specifically in getting the topics? Because of course, when we are doing the research school paper, it's very hard for us to pick what kind of topic we're going to write in our school paper. So what
Okay.
was your style or technique in your school?
Okay, allow me to share. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
actually, before I became a teacher, I was also a student. I remember when I was in high school, may kwento ko lang. There was this teacher, si Sir Sulficio T. Tabaco. Ano siya? SPA. Are you familiar with him, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Si Sir Tabaco. Yan. Second year high school ako, he would always invite us. Oy, baka gusto niya maging writer na ano na dyaryo natin. Tapos sinasabi niya ano yung pwede naming matutunan from it. So usually, he would tell us, pumunta kayo dun sa office ng ganito sa principal's office at alamin niyo dun yung mga activities. So tapos, may bago tayong activity na gagawin or may naganap. So dapat bantayan natin para makagawa tayo ng kwento. And
Yes.
you have to prepare verifiable facts. Hindi pwedeng sinabi ko lang or sinabi lang
Yes.
nung namin, editor-in-chief. At dito naman as a teacher, so usually I always ask the journalist, yung mga bata, ano ba yung latest, ano yung pads, ano yung uso. Tapos, sometimes I would tell them, eto, may nabasa akong ganito. May activity tayo magaganap. So parang ganun din, pinapasa ko lang din yung ginawa ko nung high school ako. Now that I am also an SPA, School Paper Advisor.
Yes, ma'am. So since yes, ma'am. So I agree also
nakasalalay
with
sa
you.
memo. Bantayan ng memo.
Yes, ma'am. So I agree also with you. In our school, we do brainstorming first. So when we
Okay,
are deciding for a topic for our school paper, so it's like a pitching also a story. I'd be asking my journalist, what's your topic? So why you want to write it? So give me the reason. So that is pitching a story because what it means to pitch a story and what information the journalist must include in a pitch. Okay, so moving on, Ma'am Maribel. So of course, when we are pitching a story, it must be newsworthy.
Of
So we
course.
already talked about that a while ago. So when we say newsworthy, why story that should be in the news? Of course, we should not write in our story. We should not put in a magazine or newspaper the story which is not interesting, no?
Okay, pagka newsworthy, so dapat talaga siya catchy.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am. I
Hindi
agree
lang
with
ako at
you.
ikaw yung interesado. It should be interested also for the others.
Yes, ma'am. Moving on. So these are just only questions, particularly when pitching a story, who are the interviewing, when those interviews are scheduled, how those people connect to the story, and what other types of information they will use to tell the story. Okay, so this is just only at least an additional question in pitching a story.
Oh, yes.
So now, for a summary for that in pitching a story, ma'am.
So journalists pitch their story ideas to an editor who then selects which stories to print. So talaga may nakakatay at may tinatanggal.
Yes.
Dagdagan. And the pitch includes why the story is newsworthy. Okay?
Yes.
And then who are the possible audience. So baka naman hindi interesting basahin.
Yes, we should know our target audience. So since if it is a school paper, you should know, for example, for elementary, syempre, hindi ka naman magsusulat ng sobrang ang iyong mga words ay hindi na alam or napakalalim na. So, syempre, kung elementary siya, mostly more on cartoons, yung mga pictures, di ba ma'am? Para mas catchy sa ating mga yung kanilang mga print materials. Ano?
Okay, and then yung sources also.
Yes, the sources, if it is the people, who are those people for your source of information, what documents, so maybe for the DepEd order, yung sabi, as you mentioned a while ago, you use the DepEd order in getting the topics for your school paper, ma'am.
Oo, siyempre, nakikiramdam ka din. Then the
Yes.
timeline, yan.
And the timeline, yes.
Hindi naman binabalita, parang matagal na nangyari, ngayon mo palang babalita. So, dapat,
Yes,
regress.
moving on, ma'am. So a while
Yes.
ago, pitching a story, okay, how to pitch a story in a magazine or newspaper. So this time now in a radio script.
Yes, radio
In a
script.
radio
So when we
script.
say in a radio script, you have to consider the structure and the approach, ma'am.
Approach. Yes.
So when we say structure, the relationship between the parts of something, and then when we say approach, the way that you do something.
Yes, ma'am. When say approach also, you have to ask the question which part are in it and how they are ordered. Of course, in a radio script, parang syempre, ma'am, since we have already familiar also with radio broadcasting, di ba? So when they are deciding on the topic, kailangan they are in order. The most important down to the least important
Yes.
topic. And then when we say approach now, you use it at the start of the pitch, and then it helps you to make the story sound more interesting. So that's why it's a combination of structure and approach.
Yes. So the pitch, so to sum it up, the pitch should contain,
Yes,
dapat
ma'am.
meron okay, the summary or
So summary or question,
question, and then a
it is
list
a list of the
interviewees,
interviewees, a link to a current event,
Current event.
and why the story is important.
important. So it is important that we write a summary of questions. So hindi pwedeng nag-interview ka na that's the time that you will write the question. So dapat ready ka pa nag-interview. And
So
then
next, we are now on the second or the third topic for the unit
Yes,
2, that is
interviewing
interviewing
sources.
sources, the reliability, facts, and opinion.
opinion. So the different
Yes.
type of sources that journalists can interview for their story. So number 1 is
An
an
eyewitness.
eyewitness. So hindi pwedeng yung kwento, kinikwento lang.
Yes,
Basta
so
kinuwento
when we
niya.
say
Someone-
eyewitness, ma'am, this is the people who actually see something that happened.
Okay, something
diba?
that the person who actually sees the event happen. And then number 2, someone related to an important person in the story. So, kung sino yung kunyari, kasama niya sa bahay or
Yes, it can be a friend, ma'am. It can be a friend or family member.
and
Yes,
then
we can include that.
another is an expert in the field.
Yes, expert in the field. And the last sources that we can get is a person on authority. But ma'am, basically, usually the person in authority is the hardest to interview
Mhm.
because that person might not want to talk about what was happened. Usually, yes. So that's difficult to interview. Usually, they are the hardest to interview, those person in authority. Kasi minsan ayaw nila magbigay ng statement. No, sasabihin lang nila no comment. Yun lang.
Oo, para hindi sila ma-quote.
Yes, ma'am. So, moving on now.
Okay.
So this one, ma'am, now is the interviewing sources that we have is the note-taking. Of course, as a
Strategies for
journalist,
taking notes.
you should know how to take down notes, no? And these strategies are, so we have here 4 strategies in taking down notes. And these help a journalist to take accurate news when they're interviewing their sources. And this note-taking are necessary because people speak much faster than they can write. So maybe this strategies can help you a lot. So this one can be taking out the vowels or using the first one or 2 syllables. Yes, ma'am. And another strategies. Another strategy
You can use
is
symbols to represent words and phrases. So, para mas madali. Pero dapat you should remember what's the meaning of that symbol. And the last is, you can use indentation to show that something is part of a larger idea. So, parang nagsusulat ka rin talaga ng framework ng gagawin mong article.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with you. So, to end our presentation, ma'am.
Let's move forward together.
Yes, ma'am. What can you see on the picture?
So, based from the picture, ma'am, I can say na since this is a camp, so ibig sabihin we'll be working on it by group. So, let's move forward together. Walang maiiwan, hand in hand. We'll work on it hand in hand at tatayin natin yung flag ng ating school or kung ano man yung community na kasama nila while working. Yung mga taga-PNU, Mindanao yan. Let's see.
Yes. Yes, ma'am Maribel, I agree with you. And for me, as the picture tells us that our purpose for this MOOC camp is to reach our goal at the top and
Yes.
together. So that's why we have the word together there, to finish the course, not only to finish the course, to gain something new for our professional development, because we are here to guide and assist you. So we have the word there, together, let's MOOC a difference. Together, let's MOOC it happen. Let's move forward together para sa bata at para sa bayan. So with that, Ma'am Maribel, so thank you po.
We say thank you.
Wala akong pera.
Ayan, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am Maribel and Ma'am Marian, very, very, very enthusiastic and very, what do you call this one? Full of thoughts, full of tips on how to
Tumigil
teach
ka,
a
Chloe.
story.
Ano 50 lang?
So in that case,
Kumuha ka 10 piso.
I'm sorry. So, reminder for our participants, again, always mute our microphone so that we would not interrupt the session. So, thank you very much po. Now, going back to this very spontaneous, very fulfilling course and session. Okay, so we've learned a lot of knowledge and skills, especially the tips on how to pitch a news. Okay, if it's newsworthy. Included as well what they have explained, the 10 principles of journalism, it is already intertwined there. So like transparency, how you will be able to show off how transparent you are, especially when you try to interview the eyewitness, okay, including the angles of the news. Okay, those things are really necessary, and these two SPAs, they are really foundations, should I say, in the school paper of Calamba City. And from DSPC, we that's theory into practice, from DSPC to regional up to the NSPC. So those are really, really helpful for us, ma'am. Okay, Ma'am Maribel and Ma'am Marian. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise. So once again, a virtual round of applause for our two speakers here. So again, thank you po, ma'am, for your effort and undying, unflinching commitment in honing our teachers here in our course, in our MOOCers, co-MOOCers. Okay. Now, to look forward, if we really understood what they have discussed, expound, and further added to our knowledge, to our bank of knowledge, I will be sending we will be having a Padlet activity so that everybody could join. Okay, so for a while, let's have here. I'll be sending the link for the Padlet. Then I want you to, okay, for a while, I want you to write there in our wall, just like a vocabulary wall. So this is our learning wall. So I want you to put all your learnings from today's session, especially from our speakers. What did you really learn? What are your takeaways or significant takeaways during the session? Okay, so we'll be giving a few minutes for all our participants to participate, to cooperate, and to write something on the wall. Okay, so let me see then, if ever, how many did write. Just to ask all our participants, is the link accessible now? If it's accessible, please write all your significant takeaways during the session. Okay, so as we go through this, while waiting for others who are writing on the wall for our learning or significant takeaway for this session, okay, just to share with you, kindly present the PowerPoint nga po, ma'am, sir, for our slide, the camp task for the group or individual work. Now, for this week, okay, we have our task. Okay, there are two options for this task. Okay, either individual or by group. Okay, for Camp Task 1 or option 1, you need to pitch a story. So this is now the application of what we have learned. Okay, pitch a story via TikTok. So since TikTok is very, very trending, it's very timely, relevant. Okay, and a good platform for educational purposes. We'll be using TikTok as our official medium for Camp Task 1. So a participant should pitch their story using TikTok. Delivery may depend on their creative choice. The entry must be original and within the duration of maximum of 3 minutes. Participants may select the TikTok audio, filters, and effects of their choice. Entries must be creative and may include effects, transition, and costume. TikTok entries shall be submitted with the following information: name of school, name of participants, and name of school head. For our criteria for judging, relevance and clarity of message, 30%, creativity, 20%, technical excellence, 30%, and overall impact, 20%. So a total of 100%. Before I forget, calling all the attention of by school participants. So per school po tayo ay magsisend sa ating HRD kung sino po ang ating focal person per school para sa ating MOOC. Since this could be individual or group, we would like to ask you to choose the official focal person per school. Now, for PNU students, I guess, Ma'am Pam, should they choose one particular focal person as well, or are they divided into groups? So we will just clarify that later. For Camp Task 2, next slide, please. Yeah. Again, for Camp Task 2 or option 2, I'm sorry, is the slide on time? Next slide po. Yan. For option 2, group work. It could be group work in pitching a story. So each school must submit one entry on pitching a story. So story must be original and within the duration of 5 minutes. Content of the story shall intend to convince an editor, producer, or publisher to authorize their news story. Participants may select the topic, content, and costume of your choice. Entry shall be submitted with the following information: name of school, name of participants, name of school head. And for the criteria for judging, coverage like variety of topics, relevance, interest, 30%. Quality of reporting, 20%. Originality, 30%. And technical excellence, 20%. A total of 100%. So just to go back, let's just cite one here for our wall of learning in the Padlet activity. I learned how journalists decide on a topic. So it's really important for us, no, especially school paper advisors, including the pre-service teachers who are soon to be SPAs. So as we go through this, this is really important, especially for choosing our headline, okay, our banner, what else? What is really newsworthy, should I say? And it is also important for us to have very creative, timely, factual information and news, okay, in our school paper or official publication. And this is really helpful for us, okay, how we manage to be critical thinkers, especially in the 21st century. Okay, we need to hone our learners to be critical thinkers. And of course, we cannot give what we do not have. So that's why we are all here to learn, to practice, acquire new skills, okay, and knowledge for our self and for our learners, and of course, for our nation. Okay, just a few reminders for us. Okay, for those teachers, your co-teachers or colleagues, should I say, for your colleague who are not yet enrolled in the course, okay, you can still enroll. So enrollment for the course is still open. Kindly, we highly appreciate for your assistance or extended assistance in trying to recruit them in our MOOC camp. And this is really exciting and very important for us to develop ourselves, okay, for our professional growth. Minding you that just like what others or our speakers discussed a while ago, we have different types of articles, and being the front liners of the language, should I say, English is a complex is very complex, wherein uh we should be able to distinguish generic essay from news writing, from feature writing, from sports writing, from editorial or column writing. So it's really important for us. It's very relevant for us to really join and finish this course. Okay? So please allow them or try to convince them, okay, for enrollment in our book. Now, we will be having as well the launching of the Tagalog version of Harmony Square. Now, what is Harmony Square all about? So, Harmony Square is a game that inoculates against political misinformation. So, this is really exciting when I heard it. So, Harmony Square, just as, to give you a glimpse, it's a short, free-to-play online game in which players learn how political misinformation is produced and spread. So the game confers psychological resistance against manipulation techniques commonly used in political misinformations. So players from around the world find social media content making use of this technique significantly less reliable after playing, and are more confident in their ability to spot such content and less likely to report sharing it with others in their network. Especially highly polarized ang ating politics nowadays. Diba? It's very, very important for us to join and learn about this strategy and technique, which we can, could be a return of investment for us. Okay? It will serve as a renewed motivation, just like what I've always believed. Okay? Next is we have the schedule of camp-wide meetup 3 on April 7, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so we believe that all of us can attend. Please try to find time to allot time to attend. Okay, so we are really asking for your commitment, and of course intrinsically motivate you to finish the course, to religiously attend all the camp meetup for this course. Okay? And of course, the submission of name of focal person per school, send it via hrd.deped.calamba@deped.gov.ph. And for the last reminder, prepare for assessment for week 3. Next week, before we officially start the session, we will be having an assessment. Okay, so please do review your notes because we have an assessment. This serves as a reinforcement of learning for all of us. Okay, so document as well your MOOC journey. Okay, for every week, please find time, since you are now in the trend, to take selfies or to allow somebody to take documents for or pictures for documentation purposes. Okay, those are just our reminders. Thank you very much for your attendance, for your brave hearts to allot time and commitment onto this Camp Meetup Week 2. We hope to see more faces in the upcoming weeks. And of course, for our launching of the Tagalog version of Harmony Square. So with that, once again, thank you very much for attending and participating in this Camp Meetup Week 2. So may God bless us all. And of course, pahinga din po tayo. At the same time, try to find time to finish your course. Thank you very much, and mabuhay po tayong lahat. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, sulong edukalidad. This is Sir King Valencia, your MC for this afternoon. Bye!